Frida, if it's okay, I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to talk to Barbara. It's much easier if I talk to somebody than just spout, um, what this is all about. And if you have questions, because oh, we've got Dory joining. Okay, so there may be others. And when we will get people that join, and Dory, I want to say the same thing to you. There's not a whole lot here as far as live people. This is going to be recorded. A lot of people would like the recording instead. So feel free to ask questions if anything is unclear, because I want it to be clear by the end. And we'll have time, hopefully, for questions at the end also. And now I'm going to switch over to the presentation, and I can switch in and out however you like, but let me share my screen. And Dory, did you see last week's presentation?
No, unfortunately, I was unable to. I've been busy with classes and all kinds of things. So
Okay. When you get a chance, I will try to explain what is valuable to you about that. And let me get to my presentation so that when you go back to it, you'll know why you're going back to it. I think this is the one I want. Okay, so the entire system is called Niche Domination, and it's a proven step-by-step method for consistently acquiring new clients or customers. And it does it all without buying ads. Well, let me see. Let me get you the full screen here. This probably will help. Let me do slideshow. And from the beginning. There, that may be easier to see. So there are actually 4 major parts, and last week's was major part number 1, and it was the Google My Business listing. So if you do not have one, it'll be good for you to see that. And if you do have one, it'll be good to see how you can use it to accomplish what you want with this method. So that's an important session to go through when you get a chance. A lot of people start with this one anyway, so it's really not going to hurt you to do it the other way around. The 4 major components are the Google My Business listing, the website, which we're going to go through today, and then keywords. How do you choose the keywords that you want to use in this method? And it's a customized method for you when you do it completely. It's a cookie cutter method that we're going to talk about like today, but when you go to do it yourself, it'll be exactly the way you want to do it, and it won't be similar. Well, it may be similar. It won't be the same as anybody else's use, because what you want to do is different than probably anybody else. And therefore, your system will be slightly different. The last thing is the content. Once you have the Google My Business listing set up, the website set up, and the 2 of them integrated, and once you've found the keywords that you want, the content is what you're going to need to know in order to figure out where to put these keywords. So the whole thing looks like this. The Google My Business listing begins as your local firepower. And for some people, that's really all you care about. All you care about is people that will buy your product or come to your classes that are around you. And so you don't really need to go beyond local firepower. It's going to start out that way anyway. But if you use this system, local firepower can become regional firepower, can become state firepower, can become national, and for some people, even international. So the second thing is the website, and that's what we're going to go through today. The third thing is the keywords, which are prospect queries, and next week we'll get into that, what that means and how you find them. And then the desired knowledge is how do you put these keywords into things that your prospects really want to know about so that you get your message across and they know how to find you. So that's the way the whole thing works. We went through local firepower last week. You'll check it out later, Dory. And now we're going to go into exactly how to integrate the website of yours. And if you don't have one, you're going to want to put one of those together with your Google My Business listing. So last week we started out with, we put in the search phrase, chiropractor, Raleigh, North Carolina. So about 6 weeks ago, I threw my back out and I had to find a chiropractor. And the way that many people go about finding one is to put in chiropractor and then the city that you're in, or chiropractor near me, because Google knows where you are searching from. And when that happens, this is the page that comes up if it was chiropractor Raleigh. There are 4 people that are advertising at the top of the page. That is something that happens once in a while, though not always. And then as you scroll down the screen, you come to the Google map, which doesn't show up for all keyword phrases, but it shows up for some. And these are the important ones for people who want to be found locally, or people who want to start being found locally and grow that into a national thing or a state thing. So when you scroll down, and in some cases, this is right at the top of the page. And the other thing that's unusual about this is because chiropractors need this so badly, one even wanted to advertise on this. And once in a while, Google lets someone advertise on the map, but generally it is really only 3 people that can satisfy that query. So in most cases, it would be chiropractor Raleigh, Wakefield Chiropractic, and the Joint Chiropractic, and there would not be an ad. But once in a while, you're going to see an ad. When you run into something as with as much competition as chiropractors have or dentists have, there are more ads because they can't always get to these. This is called a Google 3-pack where these 3 chiropractors are. Or as we scroll down the page, we begin to see the organic listings, which are generally harder to get into than the Google 3-pack for local companies anyway. And there are generally 10 of these if you're looking at it from a PC or a laptop or an Apple computer. If you're looking at it from your phone, which most people are nowadays, it scrolls and scrolls and scrolls with all the people that are worth the rating of being a chiropractor that could be on page 1, 2, 3, or 4, or might be in the map. So the phone has changed everything. People search more from their phone now than they ever have before, and they search more from their phone than they do from their computer. And they also do not just search by typing phrases in, but they search with their voice, which again has changed things dramatically. So if we scroll down a little more, we see the organic listings, which usually are right below the map. Sometimes if there's no map, they're right at the top of the page. And these normally would get the most clicks. The top line would get, say, 35% of the clicks on the whole page. But because there's a map on this page, the people in the map actually cut up about 65% of the clicks for the whole page. So in this case, the organic listings only cut up about 35%. So you see. Can I
ask you a question?
Yes, Frida.
Organic listing. I kind of know, but I would like to hear you explain that.
Good. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, you use some terminology that that you know.
And I'm glad you asked because sometimes I forget, and that would have been puzzling throughout if you did not ask that. What happens is if you want to get things for free, Google gives them in what they call an organic fashion. In other words, they don't like the word free. They call it organic. They will give you free traffic and they call it organic traffic, as opposed to paid traffic, where if you buy an ad, the traffic that you get from that ad is a paid. Anytime you get a piece of traffic that you're paying for an ad, it costs you money. If that ad gets you 10 pieces of traffic, it costs you 10 times. If it gets you 1,000 pieces of traffic, it costs you 1,000 times. The organic traffic is the free traffic. In my opinion, organic is everything that you want to do, and it's probably all you're ever going to need. Free stuff is probably all you're ever going to do. Once you learn the process, it should be free from there on. And then once you've gotten all the free traffic you can possibly get, and you go, well, I want more, then that's the time to consider other things. But even before then, I would consider adding another type of thing. Like, for example, we're talking a website and a Google My Business listing. If I wanted more free traffic, I would have a free YouTube channel, and that would give me more free organic traffic.
Thank you.
If you all, and the traffic that you get off of LinkedIn and Facebook is also considered organic traffic in Google's terminology. So all that stuff is free. You can pay for any of it, but in my opinion, it's wise to get everything you can out of the free traffic, and you'll probably find out there's no reason to ever pay for any ads to bring you more traffic. But in case you want to, that option is always there. So a PC gets 10 organic listings, as Google calls them, 10 free listings, as Google would hate for you to call them, because they only want you to really buy their ads. This is all kind of free stuff they give you in order that you'll be aware that you can buy ads from them. But the Google My Business, they've given specifically for local businesses, small companies, people that work out of their homes, so that they can compete with big brands and tough competition. So Google has gone beyond to help the local guy. And we want to take advantage of that. So if you click on one of the listings in that Google 3-pack, in this case, it's the Joint Chiropractic, and they've done a pretty good job. That's why I wanted to show you this. They have 60 reviews. The more reviews you get, and Frida, you've got a ton of reviews already. If you had a ton of reviews on your Google My Business listing, which you may, that would be good. The more reviews you have, the more Google 3-packs you're likely to show up in. But there are other ways to show up in there. And the Joint Chiropractic has shown us other ways that are very effective. And in fact, this one that they're displaying on here, when someone goes to your listing, and look on the left side here, and you see the Joint Chiropractic, this is what you see when you go to their listing. And as you scroll down their listing, you see Ask a Question. This is normally where someone that would be interested in what they have would like to know more from the Joint Chiropractic, and they would ask a question and Joint Chiropractic would answer them back. But they have decided, aha, look at this. I could make hay while this is up. So they have asked 14 of their own questions rather than wait for somebody to ask one, questions that they would like to display the answers to. So they have asked the question and they have answered it. And they then have on the front of their listing all these questions and answers. So rather than wait for people to ask, you can also ask them yourself and answer them yourself, and Google is perfectly fine with that. It's a very effective technique. Very few people use it, and they use it remarkably well, because they don't do a whole lot of other things they could do. Now, if you look at the rest of their listing, on the left side, welcome to the Joint Chiropractic. This is the business information you can put in your Google My Business listing. And then other things you can do with that listing are actually put on a post, or a post every so often would be good. And actually a post a month is probably the minimum that you want to do. A post a week is probably as much as you need to do. And in my opinion, it's a whole lot better than a post a day or several posts a day, as you would have to do with other social media properties, of which this is the one that Google is trying to make their major social media property. So when you put on a post, you put in an image in. You should always put at least one. Now, what they've actually done is put in 4 images for the post. The first post there, we had a spine tingling week. Now, this is going back to November. They haven't posted since then, which is probably not a real good idea. I would not recommend it. Prior to that, they had been posting once a month, which is probably the minimum of doing it well. And for some reason or another, they did not do it lately, which will hurt them to a small degree, but they're already so entrenched that it probably won't hurt them badly. There may have been reasons. The person who did the posting may have been ill or had a baby or whatever, but it would not be a good idea to post once a month and then all of a sudden not post for 3 months, or post once a week for several weeks in a row and then all of a sudden not post for a couple of months, because Google likes consistency. And it's not actually people that look at these listings. It's actually all part of the Google method of analyzation, where they do it with artificial intelligence. So an internet bot likes it when you post once a week or once a month, and they love to see that consistency. If it bounces all over the place, they get confused and it does not rank you well. So that's the way that goes. Another, and I'm kind of going back now. Frida, you didn't see this either, right?
See what?
You did not see the first, you did not?
I did not see what?
Last week.
I was in the first session.
You were?
Yeah. So I do
Okay.
have a question. So all the posts that you post in the Google, it remains there. Right? Like you say, if you post every once a month, then it accumulate all in that Google thing. When you click it, you're going to see all the posting that you did through the years.
You will see them as long as Google wants to keep them up. If they're unhappy with you, they could eliminate all of them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They
Okay.
won't eliminate the current one for some period of time, but there is really no guarantee of the time limit.
Okay. Okay. So
Now, let
basically
me-
you do that is just to be there. So when people come, they can see it. But most so important is to make Google like you, to boost the your share, or you got organic share, something like that.
Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly right. Now, I'm going to try to make sure, let's see. I want to make sure we're doing the one I want to go through today, because you've already seen it. Dory can catch up. Okay, great. This is what I want to get to today. All right, so let me slideshow this one.
Could I jump in a second? Can you hear me?
Let me try to slideshow it, and if I can't, oh, I know why I can't. Let's see if this is the one I want. let's see here. Are we going down the right one?
I think so. Yeah.
No, this is the other one. I don't want to do this one. All right, let me get this out of the way because things are in my way and they're having me click on the wrong things. Let me go back to what I want to get to. Screen sharing has stopped. Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to get to the right one and then come back to it because it's not liking the way I'm doing this. All right, now I'm going to screen share and see if I can come to the right one. Screen share. I want to screen share, please. Let me try again. Yeah, here we go. All right. So now that we've kind of analyzed what Joint Chiropractic had going for it, if we go to, let me do slideshow from the beginning again. Now, if we get down to the Joint Chiropractic and we click on website up there on the left there, this takes you to the website that's connected to them. Now, what they've got is a company website, but it could be your website. And in fact, for most people, it is their website. And this is the website that now, when it's set up properly, will amplify the value of the Google My Business listing. Now, when you go into their website, the first thing they've got is a pop-up that comes up to get an initial visit for $29. And while that is good to convert visitors to prospect or visitors to actual clients or customers, Google's not real big on pop-ups. So just bear that in mind. It's better really not to have them, but then there's the conversion aspect. If you don't mind, if they just get right to your homepage and then they convert to what you want to get them to, like a drum class, then that's fine to have a pop-up. But you don't need, if you can do it without a pop-up, it would be better. Okay, so this is the website. So they've got a homepage, they've got health benefits, plans and pricing, about careers, and these are franchises, so they've got a franchise page. All right, so if you scroll down, this is what is on the main page, and if it's on your phone, you just keep scrolling to the bottom. The Joint Chiropractic, and this is kind of the same thing they've got on their Google My Business listing, little different wording, which is good, but it's basically the same kind of setup. So it's kind of looking like the Google My Business listing, so people can feel comfortable that the website actually kind of feels and acts like the listing, which is good. And Google likes that too. So how can, now here they're going into this question thing again. So they're really big on this question thing. So it must be important, it must be working for them, therefore we should take notice of it. So how can chiropractors at the Joint Chiropractic in Raleigh help you? And then they go through the answers. So they're asking questions. How can routine chiropractic care help improve your quality of life? So they're asking more questions. And then they get into the staffing and the doctors. This is all on the first page. Your website should be similar. Of course, the content will be totally different, but this is a really good way to do it. And a lot of people aren't even going to bother keep scrolling down, but the ones that are really interested will. And therefore, it's very important that you have a lot of content on your homepage. Now, what they have done is they actually have 1,000 words of content on their homepage, and Google loves that. Google would like it even more if they had 1,400, and they would be ecstatic if they had 2,000. Now you see that hardly anybody's going to read through 2,000 words, but if there's more and more and more words, people that are going to read what they want to read are going to stop wherever they want to stop. But Google is going to be so happy that it's going to give you more free traffic. So that's the way their homepage works. Now, if you go back to the top of their homepage now, we've scrolled back up. The next most important page, as far as this process is concerned, is their health benefits page. So chiropractic is more than just a solution for back pain, and it's key to a healthy lifestyle. And then they've got quite a bit of additional information about that. So they've turned this into another page with a lot of content. And that's very powerful. Now, the other page that they've done is their about page. And here they've done a story about the joint chiropractic. I think this is a really good method that any of us can use. We want a good homepage. It's probably going to be our biggest page and the page most people visit. There may be another page and for you, Frida, there may be several. And are you asking a question again, or is your hand still up from before?
I'm asking a question, but I think Dory also she has a question earlier. Dory, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, a couple of things. It's interesting how everything's laid out. I recently, I guess within the last couple of years maybe, put a Google My Business page up. And in case anybody listens to the recording and can relate to this, here's why. Because I work from home, I didn't want to put my home address. I just thought you had to put your home address, and I didn't want people, as a woman working from home at that point, I was all alone. I did not know that you don't need to put your street address. Okay, so I did that. I also didn't know that it was free. So my bad. But now I do have a page. It is working, but I'm glad you mentioned frequent postings, because I do not. I just thought, here's my stuff. Here's what I'm doing. Occasionally I'll go in and put something in, but I'm just all over Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram that I thought, oh, one more thing I have to do now is to post on Google My Business once a week. Oh, man.
Totally understand. But the interesting thing is 10 years ago, you could do the way you're doing it. But over time, more and more people are using this. And so Google wants you to use it properly, because bear in mind, they want this to be their most important social media site. So they want people posting. They don't expect that you're going to post several times a day, but they wouldn't mind if you did. But more than that, if it's something you do every day, they would love it if you put a picture on here every day. But you don't even have to do that.
Well, I have a quick question about the pictures too.
Okay.
Who owns them? I mean, if I put them on there, can they be lifted by somebody else and used somewhere else? Do I need to watermark them?
You don't want to watermark them so people can see the watermark, really, unless it really is in a spot on the picture where it's not going to detract as far as you're concerned. Because what happens with these pictures is, and you may not want to do it with the pictures that you're talking about right now or that's in your mind, but the more pictures you put on, the more people stay on your Google My Business listing, because when they get to your listing, they may actually go through every picture. And so it's really good, because after they've come to like your pictures, they may then read more about, your business on there, but they may start totally with the pictures. Now, you can even put on short videos, and videos are excellent too. Now, the good thing about what you're talking about, Dory, is you can actually take what you've already created for LinkedIn or Facebook and just minimize it or use it exactly the same way on Google My Business. They're not, it's two different properties. LinkedIn, if you did the same content on LinkedIn as on Google My Business, there would be no problem, because Google would not count that as duplicate content and therefore hold it against you. It's duplicate content if you did the same thing, the exact same wording on your Google My Business listing as on YouTube, for example. They don't want it exactly the same. They'd like some variations. and they would prefer variations with your Google My Business listing and your website. But the easy way to do this is if you do a post on your website, and one place, and while I've got this page up here, the Joint Chiropractic, where most people do it is you actually put a blog page on your website, and then you can move whatever you had on LinkedIn into your blog post, for example, or create a whole different blog post. But the blog post could be the basis of what you then put on Google My Business. You would have to, you can't put as many words on it, so you have to adapt it anyway, which means it's changed and it's not duplicate wording and everything works out great.
Another thing about the photos real quick, as a reminder to myself and anyone else who didn't know this trick, when you take a picture with your phone, there is a way to add a signature to it, and it could be your name or it could be your website. So I need to start adding my website to the bottom of the photos so I don't have to worry about anybody using them for something else. Or
That's really good information. You can add a signature or a website.
Yep, to the bottom of the photo. And also because I have pictures of other people's kids, you know, or seniors and things, and I don't want those pictures winding up on somebody else's website.
No, you wouldn't want to put that on your Google My Business listing. You would want to keep your Google My Business listing strictly as business.
No, it is business. This is what I do. So people need to see pictures of me drumming with people.
Okay, but then you got to be selective what you put on there.
Yeah.
Now in reality, if what you put on was something that, you know, you had trademarked, for example, then the way you do it is anybody that uses that photo would then have to have your permission, or you would just tell them to take it down. But sometimes it's difficult, although there's a method to find out if anybody's ever used it. It's a little website that allows you to know where that image is used throughout, and you can actually let people know, hey, this is my image, take it down. There's all kinds of ways.
Do you have a link to that site that you can do that? Because I'll tell you what happens, even with Facebook, people steal pictures and make fake profiles to scam other people.
They do,
yeah. So I would love a copy of that. That would be awesome.
Okay, I would have to search for it, and I don't want to take the time now, but I will get that to you.
Okay, thank
you.
Link
for the link for how you would see where that image was elsewhere in the internet. Is that correct? Is that what you meant, Barbara? You're on mute.
Yes, I know. I'm driving. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the car. Otherwise, I'd be at home in front of my computer. I'm having to take someone to a doctor appointment in Chapel Hill. So,
okay.
Dory,
that is what I need.
Okay, fine.
How do you put? Is it easy? Just Google it. I can find it. How to put a signature or whatever on your picture?
Yeah, every phone is probably different, but on my phone, you know, once you take the photo, flip something from my gallery.
Okay, so I probably should be able to find it.
Yeah, so here's a photo of just, you know, some drums that I used on Sunday at church. Up top, there's 3 little dots on your phone. Hit that. And it gives you a whole menu, and one is add signature.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's a valuable tip, Dory. Thank you. Now, let me tell you something else about images with your phone. Whenever you take a picture with your phone, it actually geotags it, which means there's a latitude and a longitude associated with that picture. That's a really valuable thing in Google's eyes, because they know where that picture was taken. And therefore, if it's any place you're doing business, or they assume that's where you're doing business, they then categorize that as, oh, Dory does business in Raleigh, Dory does business in Florida, or wherever that picture was taken that kind of relates to your business. Or if it doesn't relate to your business specifically, if you're even holding something up that, you know, something that you've done relating to your business, the geotagging is a very important thing as far as Google is concerned. So,
Now, would you need to have your location turned on your phone? Because I very rarely do.
oh, okay. If you don't have it turned on, it will not show up. So remember to turn it on when you want this to be effective, because those will be the most important images that go on your Google My Business listing. All things being considered. Now, I mean, there may be some that are a lot more important for other reasons, but all things being considered, if it's geotagged, then it's more important than if it's not geotagged. That's any product you sell, such as what you would be selling, Frida. If it's anywhere, you know, in Chatham County or Orange County or Wake County, it just adds to the fact that this is where you are, and it adds value to you as a business person to Google.
That's interesting, because someone actually told me that for my business, I don't necessarily do a lot. I don't have a brick and mortar business.
Right.
So the Google My Business is really good for the ratings. If I get like a ratings there, people can check to
Yes.
see that, but not necessarily for people searching, because people will not search skincare consultant in Chapel Hill.
Well, here's how this works, Frida. You'll be surprised. But what happens is anybody that's near you initially, when your Google My Business listing is in its infancy, along with your website, if they haven't been integrated for years, Google will send you more business for people that are near you, whether your address is listed or not, because they know where you are. So you will get more people that are in your general area until you establish your authority in your general area, which then becomes your regional area, which then becomes the state, and it goes from there. Because once you become the authority in an area, it expands out, and more people find you for the keywords you've selected in areas that just get further and further from you, but you're still the center of it. Make sense?
I'll ponder on that. So, okay. And
Okay.
I have another question. You were
Okay.
talking about website listing. I remember last time you talking about website from the company way small way, because they are well established. So like me, I'm have a company website and I have my own website. Are you able to list two, or you have to choose one, and which one would be better?
For most people, your own website is better as long as you have integrated it properly, because you're able to put more keywords on your own website that also match up with the keywords, and we'll get into that next week, that'll match up with the keywords that are on your Google My Business listing, which is what really makes this stuff pop. Now,
Okay.
you'll also want to have a link to your company website, and the reason that you want to do that is for it's probably very valuable in Google's eyes because so many people go to it. So therefore,
see.
it has a nice ranking in Google's eyes, and therefore, if you're connected to it, it raises your value also. So
list your website as your own, but then somewhere along that page have embedded a link for the company
Yes.
website. Makes sense. Thank you.
exactly. You can have a lot of links, but those are the two most important. Your company website, and for some people, they don't even have their own website, so the company website is everything.
Mhm.
But in your case, you can do it with both, which will be far more effective than doing it with one or the other.
I see. Well, great. Thank you.
Any other question?
And you were talking about language the same. So when you say homepage for the website, usually that has some, when you scroll down, it actually has more, right? So it's not just the first page. It's when you hit the home on the website, that's what you were talking about.
Yes, it's
Okay.
not always called a homepage, but it is most often called a homepage. And in the joint chiropractic, it is called a homepage.
I see.
Now, your blog page, if you have one, may turn out to actually have more content than your homepage, because over the years, all your blogs will stay up and you'll just keep adding to it. So you may end up with a lot more content on your blog page than you do on your homepage, which
Yeah,
allows
and-
people to come to your website from multiple directions.
Yeah, I know you talked about last time that a lot of times it's so much easier for you to put all your keywords in your blog page there. That's
Yes.
one way to ensure that you do have those in your website.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we good now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sure. Oh, okay. We're already on Q&A already. Okay, so this is perfect. We're going along with it. And we've got well, 5 minutes left, but we can make it 8. What else have we not made clear?
Well, since you asked, I was waiting to see if anybody else had any questions. I have a new web designer who's helping me reformat and freshen up my website. However, what she said and what you said are kind of conflicting.
Okay,
She
let's
said
talk about that.
Okay, she said I have too much on my homepage. It's too much to read. Take it off.
Okay, now you can do whatever you want, but I totally disagree if you want to have people find you. If you want to have it pretty, take it off. If you want to have people find you that don't even know about you and find you with the keywords, people that you've never met before that are interested in what you're offering, you want to have, in Google's eyes, as much as 2,000 words on that homepage.
See, now I've seen people's websites like that. It just busts my brain cells. And I'm like, oh, too much to read. I'm done.
Yeah, but you don't have to read the whole thing. And did you see what Joint Chiropractic did? This is the beginning of their homepage. And if nobody goes beyond this, they're fine with it. If somebody
above the
just goes
fold.
to $29 for an initial visit, they're
But
fine.
that's a Google My Business. She's talking about website.
This is a website, believe it or not. They have
Oh, really?
they have made this look very similar. But if you look at the top, it's the homepage, the health benefits, the plans and pricing, the about, the careers, and the franchise. This is actually the company website. They've made it look so similar, and it works for them. Now, some people won't do it this way, but you're not going to probably see a picture like that on the top of a Google My Business listing. There could be something similar, but it's certainly not going to have home, health benefits, plans and pricing, and that kind of thing. This is actually the company website. And so the first page of the company website is all this stuff.
So when you're scrolling down past the folds there, you're seeing all of this on one page?
On a phone, yes.
No, on above the fold. Go
This
back.
is probably all you're going to
That's
see
above
right
the
away.
fold right there.
This
Now,
is
if you
all you're
scroll
going to
down-
see on a PC.
Okay.
And you're going to have to actually scroll down to see this, and keep scrolling down to see this, and keep scrolling down to see this, and keep scrolling down to see that. The thing is, not everybody's going to scroll down. Not everybody's going to care about it, but the ones that do are probably very interested in what you have to say. Now, the other thing that happens is when on a phone, which is all Google cares about right now, as far as ranking you, getting you on page 1 of Google or getting you in a Google map, when someone scrolls, it's of more value than if they don't scroll. Or if they go to another page, it's of more value than if they don't go to another page. That's how they rank it. If someone goes to just this far and does nothing more, it's barely even considered a visit. As soon as they scroll, all of a sudden it's of value. Oh, something captured this visitor's attention. We're glad we put this website in as one of the ones they should see from that search phrase. Because what Google is doing is they are recommending you when they show you when someone puts in a search term and you show up. So they want that person to have a good experience. And therefore they would love it if they scrolled or they went to another page.
So
Or
it's,
if someone bought the $29 visit, that would be fine too.
can I ask a question? So it's actually important for you to put some of the important information when people see all under the home, right? Sometimes
I-
people put about, but about a lot of times could be a letter to people addressing their problems. So instead of having about, just put that about section on one of the things that under the home. Is that what you're
That-
saying?
As of today, that is absolutely true. And Google started looking at it this way a couple years ago now. They've changed everything the way they decide to pass out the free traffic. And now they want a good homepage with all kinds of information. A lot of people still put a homepage and there's a couple of choices on there that maybe you can go somewhere else. It's of no value to Google unless they then go someplace else. But if you have a lot of information on your page, it's still a good page. So if you don't have a lot of information, you risk Google thinking that your page isn't of any value. So it is very good. It causes a scroll or it causes, clicks on a PC in some cases to get down. In most cases, it causes a scroll, but they're fine with it causing a click and going to another page too. And you can set your page up so that there are clickable things. You could end your, let's say, for example, and we're going to have to probably cut this off soon, but let's say, for example, somewhere within how can chiropractors at the Joint Chiropractic in Raleigh help you? If they had a link on here that took you to another page on the website, or even took you to another page off the website, which wouldn't be as good for you, but Google would value it, that would make your website worth even more. So if you don't know how to do clickable links or interlinking, I can help you with that too. But the way it is today, now, Dory, what your web designer has told you was absolutely accurate years ago. But Google has changed so much in the last 2 years, and it's primarily because of the cell phones. That's all they really care about at this point, because so many people search with cell phones that now what I'm explaining to you is the way they prefer it. And the reason I know that is because I've been fooling with Google for over 10 years, and I've been doing Google My Business type listings with them for over 10, well, almost 10 years as well. And I know exactly what they intended when they started it, and I know exactly what they intend with it now. I also know every time they're going to make a change in the way they rate sites. So what I'm giving you is the most up-to-date information that you're going to find. Your website designer may have designed a good website, but you may need additional information to take what they've designed and make it and bring it into today's environment.
Well, in her defense, we are going to have links to direct people to different areas, because keep in mind, what I do is very unusual. Everyone knows what chiropractic is. They don't have to explain a whole lot.
That's right.
Hardly anybody, Roy, knows what drum therapy is.
That's right. That's right.
And my brand is very edgy, and hip, and we rock. So I've got to have some of that on the page anyway. So I think, on a case-by-case basis, I personally would rather have people get a little taste and then click and go somewhere else.
You do whatever you want. This is strictly what I've learned over the years, but I have not worked with somebody who does drum therapy. So therefore, you're going to know more than I do. And you do not want to take what I say verbatim. You need to take it into perspective and then make your own choice.
Definitely. This was loads of great information, though. I really appreciate it. I took lots of notes. So even though I've been in business for a
That's
while,
great.
there are
That's
quite a few
great.
things that were definitely aha moments. So I appreciate your time and all your info.
Well, there's going to be how I recommend you get your keywords, and that should be valuable for you next week. And then how I recommend you turn your keywords into content, and that'll be the week after. So if you have a chance to do a couple of more of these or see the recordings of them, I think you're going to gain some more valuable information.
Sounds awesome.
Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite. You have a great day.
You do
Bye-bye.
too.